Hey everybody, what if there's a powerful educational strategy that you could unlock that would allow your students to look at one concept 4 different ways at the same time? Sounds pretty great, right? Well, actually, there is. 2 different experiments validated this approach. The first one showed that students remembered almost twice as many facts and ideas tied to a particular concept, while the second experiment showed that students retained 29% more information than their peers who did not utilize the strategy. So what is it? Stay tuned and find out more about it. When I first share this concept with students or teachers in professional development, this is the way I begin. I use this picture to introduce myself to the students in the classroom or to the teachers during the professional development. Basically, it's a highlight of things that have happened in my life or things that are interesting, and they're completely random. They're not really tied to each other, and that's on purpose to show that you can have completely disjointed ideas that students will remember. All right, so for example, I have a picture, I've drawn here a picture of my 2 dogs, Samson and Jasper, who I call a handsome Samson and baby dog. The farthest distance I've traveled is Brazil. I have a scooter that I drive around on as my mode of transportation. I broke my foot while zip lining, so that's me between the trees. And over the winter break, I worked on a Lego set from Harry Potter that I got, so I built a Lego set of Hogwarts. That's it. Then I tell them, now that you know a little bit about me, I want you to forget everything you just learned. And I continue with my presentation about visual thinking or sketch notes. And then at the end of the presentation, I say, okay, it's time for a pop quiz, which is usually met with moans and groans from teachers and students. But anyway, we press forward and I say, all right, we're going to take a quick pop quiz about that picture that I asked you guys to forget. We're going to see how well you know me. And then I go through and ask some questions that were really specific based off of those pictures. And the teachers and the students all crush it. And not only do they do really well on that particular assessment, or in that particular pop quiz, if you will, but they also make some really strong inferences that about things I didn't even tell them. For example, they look at the pictures and they say, Samson is bigger than Jasper because they see how I drew Jasper, and Samson in the pictures, and they say that one of them is bigger than the other one, so this one must be the bigger one, which means he's also the older one, which is actually really interesting when you think about it that way. Sketchnotes is a visual and holistic way of note-taking. It allows students to put pictures and shapes together with words in order to document their thinking or their understanding about an idea. Sketchnotes are really powerful because your students are actually getting the information 4 different ways at the same time. So your students are hearing the information when they're hearing it from the teacher or from the lecture. Your students are seeing it when they actually draw it out and they put things together, or they see their peers' sketches as well. It's kinesthetic because they are actually using their muscles to create their notes, and they actually have to visualize what's going on when they are putting their different sketch notes together. So they really are addressing an idea or a concept 4 ways at the same time. So it's a really powerful learning tool, and it's a great way for them to document what they know and what they're coming across. Sketchnotes also tie into a learning process called dual code theory, which means we process information visually and we tie things together with words. So we learn through words and we learn by seeing. Over the years, I've been to several different presentations at ISTE about sketchnoting and visual thinking, and you can't get through a single one without hearing about this book, the Sketchnote Handbook by Mike Road. I hope I'm saying that right. It's a great book to have for your library if you're interested in doing visual thinking or sketchnoting in particular. He explains a lot about how to do it, why you should do it, and its impact on kids. So it's a great book to have for your library. First and foremost, the quality of the artwork doesn't matter when it comes to sketch notes. So for your students who say that they can't draw, so they can't do this, tell them not to worry about it. As long as they know what they're looking at, that's the important thing. If they can draw these 5 simple shapes, they can draw anything they need as far as sketch notes are concerned. And again, it's all up to the creator of the sketch notes to be able to interpret what's going on. It doesn't matter if people outside can't tell what's going on. These are a few different sketchnotes that I found online. The links are available down below. As you can see, they're just combinations of images and words that come together to document what happened in a presentation or in a note-taking session. This last one you can see is mine, again, just to illustrate to your students, to you and your students, that the quality of the artwork doesn't really matter. As long as the creator understands the sketch notes, that's what really matters. I do force my students to do sketch notes for a couple of days, only because I want them to try it out before they write it off. So I want them to try it get into it, see how it works, and then if they want to go back to the your traditional ways of taking notes, that's fine too, but I need them to at least try it. So I force them for a couple of days, and then after that, they're on their own to go back to taking notes however they want. Once students are presented with sketchnotes, you get a mixed bag. Some students will become full-blown sketchnoters and just follow the process. Other students will create a hybrid, if you will, and they'll just start doodling. So for example, when my students study Macbeth, and I usually do that after we've done sketchnotes, I'll get pictures of Duncan getting stabbed, you know, when it happens in the play. You may see a little cartoon of like Fleance running for his life when Banquo yells, "Fly, Fleance, fly," things of that nature. So you get a mixture, but as long as students are learning and being creative, I don't really care how they use sketchnotes. They can do the full-blown version, their own version, as long as it makes sense to them and they learn. That's the important thing to me. One thing I do during the course of the year is I allow my students to create cheat sheets, if you will. Several times during the year, if it works with what we're doing, I'll tell them get out a sheet of paper and we're going to draw pictures that relate to the work. You know, if it's like the Crucible or Macbeth or something, draw whatever you want. You'll turn these drawings in and you'll get these drawings back, you know, the day of the test. My only caveat with this one is I say you can't write down any words, otherwise it just turns into like a summary. But anything I can do to get my students thinking outside the box or being creative when reviewing for a test, I'm all for. So I try and mix things up so that they are trying different things as well and figuring out who they are as learners. So a quick check to see if sketchnotes actually work. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. So think about that first picture I showed you all at the very beginning of this video. If you can answer these questions, you're in good shape. What are the nicknames of my dogs? Where is my vehicle from? What bone in my body did I break? And what Lego set did I build over the break? If you're able to answer those questions, then I think you've answered questions you may have about sketchnotes and whether they work or they don't. Sketchnotes are a fun and engaging way to increase student retention about concepts, and it's also an interesting way for you to see like what they know and how things fit together. I'm also going to put some links down below so you can see some more science behind the logic behind sketchnotes, and I hope you give it a try. So I'd love to hear your results. So when you do try it out, let me know in the comments how it turns out for you. And that's what I got. So hopefully everybody's good, and take care and have a good one, everybody.